Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, did Malcolm Butler deserve to be benched in the Patriots' Super Bowl loss? Plus, Eric Mangini stops by to talk about Bill Belichick's future in New England. And is there any way to fix the free-falling Cavaliers? Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Let's start with the latest on Malcolm Butler. NFL Network reports several factors went into Butler not playing a single defensive snap in the Super Bowl. They include a minor violation of team rules believed to be related to curfew, struggling at practice last week, and an illness which caused him to arrive late to Minneapolis. Butler played more defensive snaps than any Patriot during the regular season, but said the team gave up on him after the game on Sunday. Bill Belichick was asked about the situation yesterday. Let's take a listen.
I respect Malcolm's competitiveness and sure that he felt like he could have helped. Sure, other players felt the same way. But in the end, we have to make the decisions that we feel are best for the football team, and that's what I did. That's really all I can say about it. I appreciate the question. It would be a much longer discussion. There's a lot of things that go into that. In the end, the final decision is what I said it was.
So, Shannon, after hearing this new information, what's your take on the situation now?
If these reports are true, I don't blame Coach Belichick. I blame Malcolm Butler. Skip, this started, Malcolm Butler burst onto the scene with that spectacular play in the Super Bowl. He's on the short list for the greatest defensive plays in NFL postseason history. I think Super Bowl, there's no question about that. He could not get past the New England Patriots bringing a guy from another team in, giving him $60+ million, $45 million guaranteed. The one thing that you can control is your thoughts and your play. He couldn't control his thoughts, and it affected his play on the field. He struggled all year long. Fast forward, Skip, this is Malcolm Butler's third Super Bowl in 4 years? He knows what time the plane's going to leave. It's probably going to leave the same time it left last year on a Monday. Okay, let's just say for the sake of argument, he got caught in traffic. Why would he get caught in traffic? I don't know, Skip. He's flying charter. So it's not like he got to the airport and it says, we've already booked you, Mr. Butler. You're supposed to be on Delta. We've already rebooked you on United American.
Yeah. But reportedly he was ill, but I don't know. That was the report.
If that's the case, call Coach Belichick, let them know what's going on, and then proceed from there.
Well, it's possible he did do that, but go ahead.
I don't believe Coach Belichick would have benched them for just this. For Coach Belichick to bench a guy in the Super Bowl with the magnitude of that game, knowing what's at stake, what Malcolm Butler's behavior had to be so egregious.
Yep.
His actions throughout the course, not from just that missed flight, up until that Sunday morning, his actions had to be so egregious, Coach Belichick had to say, I just can't. I get players' frustration because you want the best 11 on the field at all times. But, Skip, this is what we know about Coach Belichick. He's always going to do that. He doesn't matter if you're a first-round pick. It doesn't matter if you're a high-dollar free agent. If you're not playing up to Coach Belichick's standards, he will release you. He doesn't care how much money that he's paid you. Ask Coney Ely, a good friend of mine, Adela Thomas, signed big dollars from the Baltimore Ravens. He played 1 year because, now granted, they played him out of position, but that's neither here nor there. Coach Belichick felt that he wasn't playing up to his expectations, so he released him. That's what we know about Coach Belichick. Skip, if these rumors, okay, late for the flight, one off. Been late. I've never been late for a flight, but they asked Mike, well, Mike, if John Elway, Terrell, or Shannon Sharpe was late for a flight, what would you do? The game's not till Sunday. We got plenty of time. Obviously, someone else, they're leaving them, they have to find their way. But Skip, did you see the allegations? Do you hear what is being reported? What happened throughout the course of the week with possible marijuana? And I get it. Skip. Look, when you and I grew up, marijuana does not have the same stigma today as it did back then.
That was just pure speculation. I'm not sure I'm going to take that one to anybody's bank.
That's what I'm saying. Skip, I don't believe there's no way Coach Belichick would have to tell me out of his own mouth. The reason that I benched Malcolm Butler was because he missed that flight, and that's it. You and I both know nobody is benching a player that played 98% of the snaps on a team in this game just because of that violation. I believe the violations throughout the course of the week were so egregious he left Coach Belichick no chance because the players are looking at one game. Coach Belichick is looking at I got a program to run. I can't, if I let this slide, because guess what? Everybody's going to say, well, you let Malcolm do it, or you let this happen, and Coach Belichick can't do that. You can't draw a line in the sand, have people step on the line, and then move the line again. Coach Belichick is not going to redraw his lines. You know where he is on every situation. There's nothing. You've been there 4 years. Nobody has to tell you what Coach Belichick's like. You know what he's like. You know he's a no-nonsense guy. He ain't keying with players. They'll tell you that. He's about this. XO, do your job, have a good day. Malcolm Butler's behavior had to warrant this kind of punishment because Coach Belichick sent the ultimate message. I would rather play without one of my better players in this game, the game of games, if you play pro football, than to have you violate team rules and go out there and play. I don't blame Coach Belichick. I blame Malcolm Butler for making Coach Belichick have to make this decision. I fought the player, not the coach.
Okay, my turn. I'm going to frame everything I'm about to say with the most staggering stat I have ever heard in my 40 years of covering the National Football League. No team in NFL history, regular season or postseason, had ever lost a game in which it totaled more than 600 yards of offense. No team had ever done that in his regular season, postseason, dating to 1922 until Sunday night in this Super Bowl. The Patriots had 613 total yards and lost the game because Bill Belichick's defense gave up 41 points. It's nearly impossible to do that, but they managed to pull it off. And this had a lot to do with it. This will go down as the most controversial, if not the worst coaching decision in the history of the Super Bowl. Now let's go back to my gut feeling is very different than yours because the harder I look at this and try to explain it, the worse it gets and the more suspicious it gets to me. So,
Skip,
do we have any reports out of New England from any of the Boston area reporters? We have none. Nothing except Mike Reese, who covers the Patriots for NFL.com, got a hold of, he caught Malcolm Butler, obviously, he's leaving the field and walking to the bus. And all the quotes we've heard from Malcolm Butler came from him. So we have one report so far from Ian Rappaport, who covers the NFL as an insider for NFL Network and NFL.com. I have followed closely Ian's work for many years, and he's been often right about some things, and he's been very not right about some things. So he says in his report that he said that Malcolm was sick and missed the flight because he was sick. So he attributes that to illness. He said he had a rough week of practice that could have been because he was still ill, but he's not sure about that. There could have been some attitude problems during the week. I think there have been attitude problems with Malcolm Butler going for 2 years now, as you point out.
Because he won the contract.
Yes. He made the Pro Bowl the year after the breakthrough defensive play at the end of the Seattle Super Bowl. So he makes the Pro Bowl the next year, and then they've been at odds over the contract since then. And Ian also reports in the end that there was a minor or what he calls small violation of team rules that happened earlier in the week. It wasn't like a Saturday night before curfew was missed. So my question is this. If it was strictly about just discipline, why did he practice all week? Why was he in his same position practicing all week?
If he was so sick, why was he practicing? Yes, I'm asking you.
Okay. No, I'm asking everybody.
If he was so sick that he missed the flight, why was he practicing to begin with?
I don't know. But I mean, I guess he was okay to practice. And the Boston reporters have all said every time he missed that Monday night extravaganza, or whatever they call that opening night, but he was there for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of player interviews. And the Boston reporters say he was very happy and almost giddy happy in all three of those sessions. So clearly, he got rocked by the announced decision that came just before the game because we saw him on the sideline, arm in arm with a couple of his teammates. He was bawling his eyes out just before kickoff. Okay, so my question is, if it's strictly about discipline, if you're right about all that speculation, then why wouldn't he be deactivated? Because you could have used another body. If you're only going to play one play in the game on a special teams on punt coverage, that's all. He got in one special teams play. Now, you don't know going in that you're not going to punt or they're going to punt one time, right? But the point is, Why wouldn't you activate? Could they not use Kenny Britt? I thought they could have used him. Obviously, you don't know if Brandon Cook's going to get.
Why you need Kenny Britt? You just had 613 yards of offense.
Okay. You lost your only deep threat in the game. The only guy who can run past.
Did you see Chris Hogan? He was over 130. Did you see Danny?
I'm just saying, Brandon Cooks is a threat to the defense. You could have used. He's a big, strong, fast
you had
receiver.
500 yards passing.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying you lost your stud receiver early in the second quarter.
Now, hold on.
Okay, let me go. Let me finish. No, you're just wrong about this. So
how am I wrong? Why do you get to be right?
Okay, Alan Branch. Why wouldn't you activate him? You don't think you could have used a little depth? Did they get a lot of heat on Nick Foles?
No. Did they get a lot of heat on Tom Brady? No,
okay,
except that last snap.
That's just stupid.
It's stupid because you upset. You lost, Skip. Coach Belichick, it's okay.
It. Hey,
no.
Shannon, stop. Because I'm gonna do this.
Skip, you've been going for 10 minutes.
I haven't even started yet.
So
I gave you your time. I'm gonna keep going. Okay, so Malcolm Butler is the one guy that can make a play on a defense that ranked 25th in the league in takeaways. He's the only guy I know who's capable of being a ball hawk and getting his hands on footballs. So he's played, as Joy points out, the most snaps on your defense the whole year. And all of a sudden, he's not deactivated, but he doesn't play any on defense. And it leads to Brandon Browner, an expatriate, posting on Instagram on Sunday night, a locker room divided pregame. And guess who liked that post? Dante Hightower, who is on IR because he got hurt on November 7th. Was he not the quarterback and the leader of that defensive unit? Shannon Sharpe, was he not? And he liked that post because he knows from his connections inside the locker room, it was a locker room divided pregame. Boy, that's pretty scary.
What did Brandon Browner say about marijuana in that post also?
Okay, all right. So now we get to Rob Ninkovich, who was Mr. Patriot. He was a team leader of that defense for 8 seasons running all the way through last year's Super Bowl comeback against Atlanta. And Rob Ninkovich said yesterday on WEEI that he would have been, quote unquote, pretty angry if he had been on the football field and realized at kickoff, I don't have Malcolm Butler out here. And he went on to say, if it was discipline, this is from Rob Ninkovich, Mr. Patriot, I don't know if that's the best way to go about doling out the punishment. And he says, Bill will say in interviews, coaches don't win games, players do. Coaches lose games. This is Rob Ninkovich talking. At the end of the day, you have to have your best players on the field, and you question if Malcolm not being on the field is the best option to win that football game. Well, obviously, it was the worst option. Now we get to Monday morning quarterback from yesterday, quoting an Eagles assistant coach right after the game as saying, after the first series or two, we were like, this guy's not in the game. They have 23, Patrick Chung, they have 23 in the slot. That's just crazy. This is from an Eagles assistant coach anonymously. So what happened? All of a sudden, Patrick Chung, the safety, has to move into the slot to cover Nelson Aguilar. It's a terrible matchup for Patrick Chung. And obviously, the usual slot corner is now Eric Rowe, who has to move outside to cover Alshon Jeffrey. They couldn't wait to throw it. And here's the quote. The plan was, this is from the Eagles assistant, the plan right away was to go after 25. That's Eric Rowe. We could get Alshon out there against him. We had Rowe on our team here in Philly. We knew that was a mismatch. So Bill Belichick put his team, thanks to his punishment or whatever it was, he said it was just a football decision, put his team at a severe disadvantage from the kickoff. So now I'm back to what I said yesterday. Is it possible that Bill Belichick wanted to just polish his genius label by saying, hey, watch this world, NFL world, watch what I'm about to do. I'm going to get the Eagles with the player I acquired from the Eagles a year ago, just before last season started, for a 4th-round pick. Eric Rowe. I'm going to put Eric Rowe, the ex-Eagle, in and beat the Eagles with the ex-Eagle. That would be one way to polish your genius if it worked, and it didn't work. So now I'm back to thought number 2. And this is my 2 cents from a distance. Is it possible that Bill Belichick was just so furious that he lost the power struggle with Tom Brady that Robert Kraft stepped in at the last second before the trade deadline and said, I'm sorry, I order you to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. And you were the first one who agreed that he wanted to go forward with Jimmy Garoppolo. Am I right?
Yeah.
Bill Belichick's got a huge ego, and he's earned the right to have a huge ego. He also has 5 Super Bowl rings, along with Tom Brady. But when he lost the power struggle, he turned around and made a move that I thought was sabotagey at best. He called a young coach that he likes in Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco and said, hey, have I got a deal for you? Will you take Jimmy Garoppolo for a 2? They're like, John Lynch, yeah, we'll do that. Who wouldn't do that? So he basically gave away Jimmy Garoppolo to a lower bidder just because he wanted to place his son, Jimmy G, in San Francisco. Well, is it possible going into this Super Bowl week, he'd lost a little heart for this? Was it not shocking that Bill Belichick showed up on Thursday night at a Timberwolves game? Bill Belichick, during a Super Bowl week of preparation, you're going to go out, it was just for the first half, but you're going to go to a Timberwolves game? That's a bad sign to me. It all adds up to maybe his heart wasn't in this. And I told you yesterday, he's just human. There's got to be a small part of him, I don't know, 20% part of him that roots against Tom Brady, because if Brady keeps doing this at a high level, it's just going to make Belichick look worse and worse, because clearly he thought that it was about the end of the line for Tom Brady, and he would have welcomed just letting him walk into the sunset and finish his career in San Francisco or wherever he would end up. So to me, this is very suspicious, because I don't think you can justify it as just a discipline move. And I think this is the crux of the reason this team lost this Super Bowl.
Can I talk now?
Yep, go.
First of all, why do we have rules if players are not going to adhere to them? And I said this in my opening salvo.
Okay, so Ian Rappaport just said he had a small violation of a team rule? Wow, okay.
There are rules.
Okay.
If they're not to be
All right,
followed,
so-
why set them up?
Okay, so why wouldn't you deactivate him? Why wouldn't you demote him during the week? I don't get it.
Well,
and he said it happened early in the week.
when it happened is unimportant to me. Let me ask you a question. You say they ranked 25th in defense. How many
in takeaways.
In takeaways.
Yeah.
How many takeaways did Malcolm Butler have?
What do you mean?
How many takeaways during the course of the season?
I told you yesterday, since 2015, he's had 55 passes defensed, which is 9th best in the NFL, but it's best on the Patriots.
Players will always want to do what's best for the players, and I get it. I've been in locker rooms. I've been on teams where players have broken curfew or did something wrong, and coach not necessarily benched, but they miss a series or two. I've said this. I believe the actions that he displayed was so egregious, but you didn't say what Brandon Browner said about that marijuana in that post. But you didn't mention that part. But
I didn't see it.
Well, he mentioned another post about players being able to go on the road.
Do we know that's for sure?
If somebody dressed up as Brandon Browner with his official Insta.
No, I don't know the report on the marijuana. Are you sure about that one?
I'm just saying Brandon Browner basically confirmed, like, hey, everybody do a little marijuana.
What did he say? I don't know.
Well,
read it to me. Read it to me.
He was talking. It's on an Instagram post.
Okay, but read it to me. I want to know exactly what he said about it.
I trust.
Did he confirm it?
I trust Coach Bell. It's hard for him.
Well, don't say if he confirmed it if he didn't.
Well, you deduct.
Okay, I want to know.
You deduct from it whatever you want to.
His caption says he's not the first to get caught with weed. That's how he starts the caption of the video.
All right.
I'm done. I got nothing else to say.
Okay, did Malcolm Butler say he got caught with weed?
Skip! See, there you go. Now you want to move it again. Did Malcolm Butler say it? Now, first of all, hold on. First of all,
okay, if he got caught with weed, why would he practice the rest of the week? Why wouldn't he be deactivated? No, seriously. I'm asking you a hard question because you don't have a good answer for it.
It doesn't matter why.
I want to know.
It does not.
If he got caught with weed, there's no way he's out. He's out of the game. You
was.
know it right away.
He was.
He stood on the sideline. He wasn't even deactivated.
They don't play the game on the sidelines.
Wow.
They play the game on the field.
Wow.
See, first of all, you say, oh, this is just speculation. Now Brandon Browner, who was a teammate of Malcolm Butler's, basically says, hey, everybody's done a little weed or something. Now you're like, well, how did he know? Did Malcolm say it? You keep moving it because they lost, Skip.
No.
You keep, he could have activated Kenny Britt.
I just
they
told
lost
you,
to a better team.
They were the first team in the history of the league to have 600-plus yards and lose a game. Why was that, Shannon Sharpe? Help me out. You're in the Hall of Fame. Tell me why. Why was it? No, tell me. Don't change
What you mean
the
tell you
subject.
why?
613 yards. Why did they lose?
What did the other team have?
Why did they lose?
Because
Tell
they
me.
didn't make enough plays, Skip.
They didn't make any plays on defense.
Okay.
Bill Belichick's defense gave up 41 points.
Okay, where did Tom Brady's
That's
fumble play into
unheard
that?
of.
Where did Tom Brady's fumble play into that?
Okay, it definitely played, but
Okay, then.
he broke the all-time playoff record of 505
Okay, well, let me answer me this,
passing.
Skip.
Wow, how do you justify that, Shannon?
The New England Patriots were the first team to come from 25 points down in the Super Bowl. Why is that, Skip? Why is that, Mr. Journalist with 40 years of experience? Why is that?
Because Tom Brady is the greatest clutch player ever.
You see?
Well, you
now,
know it,
now
know
it's
it.
Tom Brady. But you won't mention anything about Coach Belichick's defense giving up 0 points the last 30 minutes of the ball game. But it's Tom Brady. But okay.
He threw for 246 yards in the fourth quarter.
He threw for 505 and lost.
Wow.
He threw for 505 and lost.
Trust me, somewhere right now, at this moment, Tom Brady is still stewing about that Belichick and that defense. He is outraged over the fact they gave up 41 points and never came close to even slowing down Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Nick Foles.
I'm sure
Wow.
Coach Belichick is outraged that they only got 14 points against the Giants. Coach Belichick is outraged they only got 17 points against the New York Giants. He's outraged that Tom Brady fumbled the ball on his own 31, down by 5. He's outraged.
Who's the greatest quarterback ever?
It doesn't matter.
You said it last year. You
Who's
said
the
it
greatest
before
coach?
the game last year.
Who's the greatest coach?
Bill Walsh.
Bill
Not even
Belichick.
close, not
Bill
close.
Belichick.
Sorry.
Coach Belichick.
No, not even close.
I fought Malcolm Butler because guess what? If he had done what he was supposed to do, had he showed up on time, look, bad practices, I don't care what anybody tell you. Coach Belichick, I've seen guys, I've played with guys that had bad practices. I believe his actions were so egregious, and I believe Coach Belichick is protecting him.
Why didn't he demote him during the week and then deactivate him? Why not? Why would you sabotage your team by continuing to practice that guy and then suit him out?
I'm giving out.
Why would you do it, Shannon? Doesn't make any sense to me. It's very suspicious to me.
Are you trying to say the man sabotaged? He threw the game?
I just said that. I brought it up. I just went through my detail on it.
Man, you.
Huh?
Okay.
No mercy.
Hey everyone, it's Joy Taylor. The Undisputed podcast continues in a minute, but first I wanted to bring in Shannon Sharpe to talk about one of our sponsors.
Thanks, Joy. Hey guys, Shannon Sharpe here with a quick word from Pro Flowers and Sherry's Berries. With Valentine's Day right around the corner, the last thing you want to do is pick the wrong gift. Making a big impression is key. Pro Flowers and Sherry's Berries have teamed up to help you really impress your Valentine this year with their perfectly paired collection. Go ahead and think inside the box this Valentine's Day. This is really a one-of-a-kind gift. Your flowers and dipped strawberries will arrive together in a beautiful, specially designed box that will keep your flowers fresh and your berries cold, guaranteed. Right now, Undisputed listeners can save 20% on any one of their perfectly paired combinations or any other gifts over $29 with the promo code Undisputed. And take it from me, these flowers are gorgeous and the dipped strawberries can't be beat. Pick the delivery date and it's guaranteed, and customer satisfaction is always number one, or your money back. Hurry and order today. Valentine's Day is next week. There's only one way to get 20% off a perfectly paired gift over $29, featuring beautiful blooms from Pro Flowers and freshly dipped strawberries from Sherry's Berries. Visit proflowers.com today and enter the code UNDISPUTED at checkout. That's proflowers.com, code UNDISPUTED, and you'll get 20% off this perfectly paired gift. Now, let's get back to the show.
No mercy.
Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are now 5-3 in Super Bowls together after their loss on Sunday, and we're joined now by the very excited Rob Parker.
What? Hey, how you guys doing?
You get your first moment in the sun on this show.
Is that it?
Yep.
You know what, Shannon? I don't think I've ever been high before until Sunday night.
Oh, yeah.
Just naturally high.
A natural high, yes.
What percentage of the blame goes to Brady and what percentage goes to Belichick for Sunday's loss?
100% to Tom Brady. For the first time, New England Patriots fans and I agree, Tom Brady was the GOAT in the Super Bowl. And I'm not talking about the greatest of all time, just the GOAT, G-O-A-T, who made the big blunder that cost him the game. And I say this, Skip, about why I think Brady deserves all the blame. First of all, you can take a look at the defense. Coming into the game, Tom Brady knew, you saw what they did, Nick Foles did against the Vikings.
Vikes, correct.
Right?
Yes.
The number one defense. They ran them off the field. So coming into the game, you had to figure that the 24th ranked defense was going to have issues. This was going to be a game where Tom Brady was going to have to be the best guy and beat Nick Foles, and he wasn't the best guy. Nick Foles outdueled Tom Brady. If you just watch, and don't give me the yards, the 505 yards. It's about points. It's not about yards. It's about points. That's what wins games. And Nick Foles was the best quarterback on that field Sunday night. Did you see those throws, Shannon?
Hey.
They were on the money. Tom Brady had a couple of wobblers, couple of pop-ups with nobody around the defenders. That's what Tom Brady cashed in on. And the other thing, when people talk about Tom Brady being the GOAT, did you watch him try to catch that pass that was thrown to him? Mm-hmm. He looked like a middle-aged man with a spare tire, and his 4-year-old son was throwing the ball to him. And he had no chance to get it.
Are you saying Tom Brady has a spare tire?
No, I said he looked like that, a middle-aged guy trying to. He looked horrible.
Did you see him try to scramble before the half and got caught by Brandon Graham before you get out of bounds?
So there we are. Tom Brady had the ball twice, Skip Bayless, with under 2 minutes to go with a chance to win the game. That's what everybody tells me. Tom Brady is the greatest. This is what he does. Mm-hmm. No, the difference between what Tom Brady was able to do this time and the other times, the last two, was that the defense was almost shutting out.
Not almost, they did in the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter, the other opponent, so it was all on Tom Brady. All he had to do was score one touchdown to win the game, and he couldn't do it twice. Tom Brady lost the fumble that changed the game. That was the reason why the Eagles won and the Patriots lost, and you can't have it both ways. I'm tired of hearing people say, well, if Tom Brady would have won, the debate is over. He's the greatest of all time. End of discussion.
Well,
but if he loses...
that already ended a year
No,
ago.
it did not end. No, it didn't.
Not with you, huh, Rob?
No, not at all. And now, if he loses, he's still the greatest. No, he's not. And he lost Skip to a backup quarterback. Tom Brady lost to Eli twice, a backup quarterback. It's not about going to the Super Bowl. It's about winning. And Tom Brady lost this game. He's 100% to blame. And you know what? I'm still on a high.
So those other five times winning, that didn't matter?
No, you know what? Let me see. Do the math. It's basically 500 now for Brady.
So he should be.
Aren't you a professor? You should be ashamed of yourself.
You know what?
But not in mathematics.
Not in math.
You should take this act on the road because you could be Brady hater, right? You know, Rob Brady hater, and it would be funny because you'd have him rolling the aisles with this material.
You want me to go or you would go?
You can go. I'm waiting.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Sure?
Yeah.
So, Rob Parker, you did gloss over the fact that Tom Brady didn't just set a Super Bowl record. He set an all-time playoff record by throwing for 505 yards. And the most staggering stat I have ever heard in my 40 years of covering the National Football League is that no team had ever lost a game in the regular season or the postseason in which that team had gone over 600 yards. And the New England Patriots went over 600 because Tom Brady's offense piled up 613 yards and lost the game because Bill Belichick's defense allowed 41 to the quote-unquote backup quarterback, Nick Foles, who is not a backup quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. He is really good. For his career now, Nick Foles has 69 touchdown passes to only 30 interceptions. And the 30th happened Sunday night, and it was just a bad luck interception.
Yes.
It got tipped up in the air by Alshon. He almost caught it, tipped it to Deron Harmon. That's just bad luck.
Right.
And 505 yards, got 33 points. So the most points any Super Bowl loser has ever scored in the history of the Super Bowl is 33, and that was Tom Brady. And I give you that he lost the ball on the it was a great play by Brandon Graham, and it happens because he doesn't turn the ball over very much. But it was a great play, and he's looking because he's down a touchdown. He's got to go get a touchdown from deep in his territory, and on second and whatever it was, the second down, He's reading 1, 2, 3. Remember, he had lost his deep threat. He doesn't have Brandon Cooks, who got concussed, obviously, early in the second
Still
quarter.
got 505 yards.
Okay, well,
Skip.
thank you. You're making my case
No,
for
but-
me.
but
He
yards
still
don't
did it.
win the game.
And,
That's
and
my
obviously,
point.
he doesn't have Edelman. He doesn't have Martellus. And then he didn't have the
That's
guy
all
they went
old
out and got.
news.
All old news. So you're down to nothing. You're throwing to Amendola and
Amendola had 100 yards. They
Yeah.
all had 100
Chris
yards.
And he had 100 yards.
Right?
Chris Hogan, because Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback ever. That's why they have 100 yards. He was doing it with mirrors. And yet, in the end, we get to the final play of the game, and you say, oh, he had 2 chances. And on the second chance, he makes the greatest play of the night for him on a night when he was at his all-time greatest. And if we could see the Hail Mary, look at the move he puts on Brandon Graham, the best pass rusher on the Eagles. Look at this. He escapes Brandon Graham, and he throws a perfect Hail Mary to Rob Gronkowski. Couldn't have hit him better in the hands.
It's
And-
not perfect, Skip. He didn't
Oh,
come down with it.
I know, because he's 6 feet 6 inches. He has to go up and get this ball. He's against 3 guys who are probably all 4 to 5 inches shorter than him. This is a perfect throw from Tom Brady. It's got Hail Mary written all over it. What happened? What happened? You don't think Gronk can go up over those guys and snatch that ball? And if he had, Rob, would you have bet against Tom Brady making the 2-point
Aaron
conversion?
Rodgers would have completed that. Hail Mary.
That's his specialty,
Yeah.
huh?
You know that.
Yeah, Aaron
We've
Rodgers,
seen him do it.
Yeah, because his in Detroit, remember that one? It was 5 yards short of the end zone, and Richard Rodgers came back out of the end zone to catch it and turn around and walk
He
in the
threw
end zone.
70 yards, Skip. Don't you remember where they were? It was an unbelievable throw to
Was
even
that
get
not
it
an
there.
unbelievable throw by Tom Brady to elude Brandon
Did
Graham?
Tom Brady win the game, yes or no?
Well, he didn't get any help from Rob Gronkowski.
What's the difference between that night? I wasn't sure if I was watching Stat Pafford or Tom Brady.
So,
So
Rob
how
Parker,
much percent? So what's the percentage? You giving
in the
Belichick
end.
how much percent?
I'll give Belichick 80%.
Oh, God.
That was the all-time embarrassment for a genius coach of a defense that gave up 41 points to what you call a backup quarterback, and you gave him 0. 0? And he benched a Malcolm Butler, who was his best playmaker in the secondary, and you're giving him 0 blame? 0 blame.
Zero
Really?
blame
Wow.
because I'm told Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. Skip, all you talk about
Have
is
you
his
ever seen him
comebacks.
play better than he did in that game?
Yes,
I have.
because I've seen him win the game actually at the end with throws. He had a chance.
So with
he
9
turned over the ball in
Rob,
the biggest spot.
In 6 of his 7 Super Bowls, Tom Brady has had a fourth quarter drive from behind that put them ahead. In 6 out of 7, Tyree happened and canceled the one against Eli in the first Giants Super Bowl. And then the other night, with 9 minutes to go, Tom Brady drives them all the way down the field, as he does so often, hits Gronkowski, and all of a sudden, improbably, the Patriots had rallied back to lead 33-32. And then what happened? The defense has to make one play, and for the next 7 minutes, Nick Foles had the football. The next 7 minutes, and then he hits Zach Ertz, whether it was a touchdown or not.
It was
you
a
can debate.
touchdown, Skip. Stop it. That was a touchdown. Both of those plays were touchdowns.
Oh,
They
really?
were called touchdowns by the officials
Yeah.
on the field, and they were not reversed.
And all year they were reversed by the replay
Did you hear the
official.
commissioner before the Super Bowl that they were going to address that?
Well, it sounds like they addressed it
They
before
did
the Super
address
Bowl
it,
game.
because they finally
you
got it
were-
right.
you were
I agree
lucky,
with that.
Because if that's so, then my Cowboys should have won that game at Green Bay in 2014.
Oh,
Skip,
my
are we
goodness.
going
Skip,
back
we're
there?
not going
Stop
back.
it.
Well,
Stop
was
it.
that not a touchdown?
No.
Did Des Bryant
No, that
throw it?
wasn't a touchdown.
Wasn't a touchdown?
No, that
Oh,
wasn't.
so he caught it and ran with it 2 steps and then tried to slam it.
Not
in
to the
end zone?
letter of the law.
Oh, well, then the letter of the law says Zach Ertz wasn't a touchdown.
No, that
And-
wasn't. He was a runner, Shannon,
we
right?
we didn't open the mail. That letter, we read it like this. That's a touchdown.
Yeah.
I give Tom Brady 75% of the blame.
There's such Brady hate on
No,
the show. I've
Skip,
never
what-
heard anything
what
like
I- Yeah, here's my notes right here. Let's see. He had that big turnover late in the ball game.
That's
He
crunch
did.
time. That's winning time.
He had 2 chances with 2:21 left in the clock, 1 timeout, and with 58 seconds and no timeout.
Won't see a better Hail Mary throw than
He
threw.
also had 20 incompletions. The Patriots' first 4 drives, 0 touchdowns, 2 made field goals, 1 missed field goal, a turnover on downs.
And put his team behind.
Wait, time out. Has Tom Brady ever scored a touchdown in the first quarter of a Super Bowl?
That don't mean you shouldn't. You can't.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just saying.
So why is that? Why can't the GOAT get a touchdown in the first quarter?
Why would your coach, your defensive genius, win the toss and defer to Nick Foles?
Because he's done that every time with the exception of once.
And it's offensive to me because you have the greatest quarterback ever and you don't give him an extra chance to go down and score.
I can only remember one time and say the last, 2 times. Against the Dolphins, he deferred. You say, remember, late in the season, he deferred.
Well, he deferred in overtime.
It's overtime.
Yeah.
Remember that? Was that the Jets? Who was that?
The
What
Jets.
was that game?
Oh,
it was
that's
the Jets
the Jets
game. You remember
was.
that Jets game where he did that?
He deferred in overtime and,
And he did-
immediately lost.
And he did it to the Broncos
Right.
in the AFC Championship game. Skip, we make excuses. Now we're making excuses for Brady saying the defense. I remember a game, the Arizona Cardinals against the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers threw for 423 yards and 4 touchdowns. But in overtime, he got hit, fumbled the ball, and ran into the end zone. And I know somebody at this desk says, if you're that guy, you got to win that game. Now, I'm not going to call anybody names that says if you're that guy,
I know it wasn't me.
You should win that game. 423, 4 touchdowns. They lost in overtime because of his fumble. He got to win that game. We make excuses. Now, they gave up 45 points. Aaron Rodgers got them to overtime, 45-45. This is the 4th time in Brady's 38 playoff games that they gave up over 30 points. Aaron Rodgers has 6 of those in 16 games. You see
How
what?
many Super Bowls has he won?
He's batting 1,000. He's never lost a Super Bowl.
Oh, he's been to one, and it was like 10 years ago.
But no,
or?
Skip. That's my point. We give if you're gonna give Brady the lion's share of the credit when they win, he must take ownership and lion's share of the blame when they lose. See, points win you game. You kept saying, "Oh, the Patriots defense, they give up all these yards," but they didn't give up points. Tom Brady had all these yards. But he needed 42 points. So he has to take the lion's share.
Oh,
but I give Coach Belichick 25% because, he normally mix and match because, he like Coach Saban. He got that diabolical mind. He be mixing and matching.
Yeah. So if you told me before the game Tom Brady would put up 33 points on that defense, it's hellacious good. And it can flat rush the passer. If you told me 33 points, I would have said they would have blown out the Eagles because I thought, wrongly, sillily, I thought that Bill Belichick's defense would be good enough in a Super Bowl, especially when you have a long halftime where you can really adjust.
That halftime seemed longer, though.
But
did it seem
Skip,
longer to you, the halftime?
It's just always endless.
But there's not
it
enough
seemed
time.
long because the act wasn't very good.
You're talking
right?
about-
You
you're talking
said it.
about-
I said it. It just wasn't very good. It was just kind of blah.
But let me ask you a question, Skip.
Okay, did the adjustments take in the second half? Nope.
Adjustments, he needed
What?
to make trades during halftime. I don't think there was enough
Okay, let me ask you this,
adjustments.
Skip. You and I both said we did not believe Nick Foles could play better against the Patriots than he played against the Minnesota Vikings. So if I'd have told you going into the game, Nick Foles is going to play a better game against the Patriots than he did against the Vikings.
Then I would say you got a shootout on your hands.
And then I'm going to say they're going to go 12 of 18 on 3rd and 4th down conversions. And you're going to say...
I'm going to say you might lose that game. No, seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
12 of 18 on 3rd and 4th down? So, to me, did Tom Brady throw... If he'd thrown 4 interceptions, you got me. I'd say, oh, he just had a bad game. But I said before the game, I did it on Facebook Live, if this comes down once again to Tom Brady having to make miracles at the end of the game, he's still human. He's not superhuman. He's just human. 5 times he's won Super Bowls with game-winning drives in the fourth quarter.
But the only difference, though, Skip, is that
5 times, Rob.
But when you talk
and now
about-
you say he's a bum.
No, but I'm
because
just saying,
he
like,
didn't
this
do it
whole
his
idea
time.
that Tom Brady has ever dominated anybody in the Super Bowl just is not a fact.
No, he's never dominated.
He's never. Every game is by the skin of his teeth or Adam Vinatieri's foot. That's how he's won those Super Bowls.
Everyone. They'd won
Every
by an
single
average
one.
margin of 3.7 points.
So I was
Wow.
never buying that he was going to go and, even with all the yards he put up, he didn't put up enough points on this day against a guy who outplayed him. Would you admit that? Nick Foles outplayed him. Not by yards. I'm talking about by throws and points and what he did. Skip, I want you to admit that.
Well, I'll give you he outplayed him because he won the game. I'll give you that. And the QBR, which I hang my hat on, it was 89 to 84 because Brady had a turnover late in the game, and that dropped him from probably 90-something to 84.
I'm here
but
to-
Rob, when you throw for the all-time playoff record yards, that means you had a pretty good night. Would you admit that was a pretty good night?
Yes, but ultimately, what do I always say? Sports has a short menu. It's wins and losses.
Right.
It's not about yards.
Except for the other 5 Super Bowls that he won. We don't worry about those ones.
So we just cancel those out.
I'm here to tell you today.
They're basically even. 5 and 3 is basically the same thing.
I told you it's 500%. That's 500 to me. The bottom line is Joe Montana is officially back in the spot of the greatest quarterback of all time. He is the GOAT. 4-0, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions, 3 MVPs. You can't play better than that. Joe Montana, with this loss now, Brady's out of the conversation. I hope he goes to 2 more Super Bowls, finishes 5 and 5.
So then he will literally be 500?
So he can be 500 and I can
What
say
happens
that.
if he wins those 2? Is he back in the conversation?
Can't win those
But
two. Did you watch him?
But in postseason wins.
Oh, yeah, he took a step back.
Yeah.
All-time passing yards. I feel like he's.
But just forget about this stat that in postseason wins, Brady has 27 to Montana's 16. But we'll forget about that.
Montana didn't need that many. He still has 4 wins. Brady only has 1 more Super Bowl win.
Only one more.
Only one.
Those are easy to come by.
Okay. Yeah. No big deal.
Congratulations.
Just the Super Bowl.
Congratulations, Rob.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy yourself?
Way to go, Rob.
No mercy.
Hey, everybody. Joy Taylor here. Thank you for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. But I wanted to tell you about another podcast at Fox Sports that we are really excited about, and that's Alexi Lalas's State of the Union podcast. That's right. U.S. soccer legend Alexi Lalas will be partnering with Fox soccer guru and researcher extraordinaire David Mossy to review the top storylines in soccer across the globe. Each week, Alexi will give his State of the Union on American soccer as it rebuilds for the future. So go subscribe right now and listen to the first episode for free on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Now back to the show.
No mercy.
For the past month, we've heard rumors that Bill Belichick could walk away from the Patriots this offseason. He was asked about that after losing on Sunday and said it was ridiculous to answer the same question every day. Last month, Belichick said he would absolutely be coaching the Patriots next season. We're joined by former NFL head coach and Bill Belichick's former defensive coordinator, Eric Mangini. Eric, you know Belichick well. Could you see him leaving New England this offseason?
I told Rob downstairs, no way, no how. It's just not going to happen. He's got a situation right now with Tom Brady coming back where he's in position to compete for the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl again next season as long as Tom is there. He's got 2 of his kids that are working with him now, and that's a great situation. He can help them get established in the industry. I think this is going to be as challenging an offseason as he's faced maybe throughout the course of his entire career, losing both Josh and Matt Patricia, and also potentially Dante Scarnecchia, the offensive line coach. The amount of work that he's going to have to do, plus dealing with the hangover of losing the Super Bowl, I could see why you would take a step back and think, maybe I can go do something else. But what are the hobbies? He likes to play a little bit of golf. It's not like he has a second business or he's taking up gardening. This is what he does. And he's got his family with him now, and that's a really unique situation. What I could see him doing at some point is moving into a GM, president-type role and moving away from the coaching.
I could. I just think
See him walk away.
Yeah.
This year?
Yeah. I've said maybe 40, 60, 50, 50. For the simple fact, we've heard information get out of the Patriots that we've never heard before. And Mr. Kraft has confirmed that he said, I would like to keep this thing together for a couple of more years, but we're going to have to get egos in check. He also said, I wouldn't say it's dysfunction, but I say there's tension.
Yep.
That article came out with Seth Wickersham wrote, and the first thing they did, what'd they do? Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady as united as they've ever been. Well, that's not what Mr. Kraft said after he wrote that letter. That's not what he said before the Super Bowl, that there was tension. He lost the power struggle. I believe he wanted to move forward, win, lose, or draw after this Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo because he had that bridge. And what Coach Belichick knows, he's been around, he's a football lifer, like you said. He doesn't have any hobbies because normally football lifers, football is their hobby. Breaking down tape, scouting and is their hobby. He had the bridge, basically 18 years to Jimmy Garoppolo. He's going to have 5 to 7, maybe even 10 more years. So he had that Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers transition. He had the Joe Montana to Steve Young transition, although Steve only played a couple more years with the concussion thing. Mm-hmm. He had that nice bridge. Coach Belichick knows. Normally, when you have a franchise quarterback, all-time great, and you don't have adequate replacements, you struggle. You're a bottom feeder. Ask the Dolphins. Ask the Steelers before they got Ben Roethlisberger what it was like those years. Ben, the Terry Bradshaw.
Bill told me when I took the head coaching job, he said, look, at the end of the day, you need to go home happy.
Right.
And if the position coaches and the coordinators don't like what you're doing, tell them to go get their own head coaching job.
Right.
He said, now that being said, at the end of the day, the owner needs to go home happy.
Right.
And if you don't like it, go buy your own team. Mm-hmm. So for a guy who his whole career has asked people to know their roles and do their job, I think that he's the same way. He has a role to do. He has a place to fit in that organization, and he respects the hierarchy. Does he always agree with it? No. Do we all agree with what our bosses tell us to do? No. But if you don't like it, you can go buy your own team. And then he's asked Tom Brady to do a lot of things that I'm sure Tom probably wasn't overly excited about.
Yep.
But that's just the way it works, and that's why it works. So I can't see him moving away now.
I believe it's more likely than not that Bill Belichick coaches the Patriots next year. And by the way, they are already Las Vegas favorites to win it all again next year. So the Lennon-McCartney relationship that is Belichick and Brady is pretty great. And to your point, when you have two of your sons working on your staff, that's pretty great. And he obviously likes living there and coaching there, so that's all great. But to Shannon's point, Bill Belichick also has 5 Super Bowl rings, and he has earned the right to prove that he could go win a 6th without Tom Brady. And I believe in his heart of hearts he would like to do that. And I believe the ESPN story by Seth Wickersham that was very clear, and it was nailed down, that Bill Belichick wanted to go forward with Jimmy Garoppolo. That was his hand-picked, diamond-in-the-rough, second-round quarterback out of Eastern Illinois. And he had become very close with Jimmy, and it sounded like, to your point, much closer with Jimmy than he's ever been with Tom. And I've talked to a number of Tom's close friends who say Tom's always sort of mystified by why he doesn't have any better social relationship with Bill. That after all they've finished 18 years together, and he has no real rapport or relationship with Bill.
Didn't they play one round like at Pebble or something?
They got paired together.
Right.
They didn't do it by choice. And that Tom's always wondered, why didn't he call me in the summer and say, hey, let's get together wherever, out on the Cape and play around golf?
You wouldn't do that with your quarterback?
No, look, everybody's different. I don't see Bill casually inviting Tom to a dinner party or something.
No.
That's not typically how he operates. And look, you got to give Mr. Kraft a ton of credit, because back in the day, before Bill became the head coach, he went out on a major limb to hire him. He had the one winning season in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. He gave up draft picks to get him. He took a tremendous chance on him, just like Bill took a chance on Tom Brady. And I think there's a respect for this whole progression.
In the 30 for 30 the other night, Bob Kraft says, I was seconds away from hiring Dom Capers instead of Bill Belichick. Remember, because it was so dicey whether he could extract him from his deal, and it took compensation, right?
Yeah, and it took, when we got there, it wasn't like there were any parades. Nobody was happy that we were there. Go look at the coverage. It was about as bad as you can get. Mm-hmm. But Mr. Kraft took that chance. He saw that, and I think Bill probably respects that and understands that everybody has a role if this organization is going to be successful.
Okay, but Mr. Kraft dropped the hammer on Bill Belichick and said, you will trade Jimmy Garoppolo at this deadline.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's right, but we all have bosses. Mm-hmm. And we all have roles to play. And if you ask people that you are in charge of to play certain roles and make sacrifices because that's your prerogative, then you better be ready to do the same thing if someone who is your boss asks you to do something.
Do you think Bill would like to win a Super Bowl without Tom?
Yeah, I of course he would. It would solidify the legacy.
Yeah.
Because he's got the other part of the equation where he was in Cleveland and before Tom, where it was one winning season out of 5. Yep. So you've got that body work. Then you've got with Tom, if he could go win one without it, then there'd be no question as to why.
But see,
why things
when my
went the way they
boss,
were.
when my boss been letting me do what I want to do for 18 years, and then he tell me no. Why you telling me no now? I traded Drew Bledsoe within the division.
You did.
I traded Richard Seymour. I cut this guy, cut that guy.
That's arguably the first personnel decision where he said no.
Yeah, he's the boss. That unfortunately,
He just gets to
we
decide when he
all
doesn't do that.
we all have bosses.
And by the way, the boss calls Tom Brady Tommy, right?
Yeah, well, that's nice too.
But he's still the boss on eBay.
He's still the boss.
Tom,
You
you
can
can
call
call
him
him
Tommy or
Tommy, you can call him Thomas.
Eric,
You can
thanks
call
for
him whatever
joining
you
us.
want.
No mercy.
The Cavs are a mess right now. They were blown out by the Rockets on Saturday, and they've now lost 8 of their last 12. ESPN's Brian Windhorst reports some of the Cavs players don't trust each other, and some don't even like each other. He also writes that LeBron has looked, quote, completely dispirited this season for the first time in his career. We're joined by FS1 NBA analyst Chris Broussard. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Good morning. What's going on with the Cavs
It would
right
be
now?
easier to say what's going well with the Cavs. Right? It's a long list. I said on this show and others at the beginning of the year, the Cavs thought they had a good problem, which was we have so many guys that should play, that are talented, that are used to getting a lot of minutes, that it could become a problem.
By the way, you thought they could be a little better than they were?
I did,
a year
yeah.
ago? Okay.
I mean, obviously,
Is that because they did? But go ahead.
Yeah. I thought the trade, I have to admit, I thought the trade was a good one. I thought they won that trade. I knew Kyrie was the best player, but I expected way more from Jay Crowder. But I thought Isaiah would be better. Obviously, you still have the Brooklyn pick, so it hasn't worked out. But what's happening is this good problem has just become a problem because now you have guys that know they deserve minutes, that are used to playing more minutes, and some have agendas. I mean, and I don't blame them. D. Rose and Isaiah Thomas, they're in contract years. Isaiah especially wants to impress and get that deal. So now when guys aren't getting their minutes and so is playing in front of me and we're losing and he looks bad, that is causing finger pointing, and that's where the lack of trust in the locker room is coming from. I'm told there are cliques on the team and all types of stuff like that. Secondly, Ty Lue. It's tough for him, but he's got to make the tough decisions. And some people in the organization are looking at Isaiah. Even Isaiah maybe alluded to it. He's not ready. He's not healthy, but he's not going to step out.
Why the hell he playing and hogging up all these minutes?
Because he wants. I understand. He wants his payday. He's never had his payday.
His chance. Do you see how he
sitting on the bench won't help it? I'm with you for the team. I'm just saying I understand his thinking. That I was 5th in MVP voting. I'm making $6 million a year. I want to get paid.
Yeah.
LeBron, we know we'll get to, with the trade deadline stuff, maybe LeBron and Gilbert. But LeBron is to blame too, and he's sulking and the body language is bad. The teammates see that. He's not hustling on defense.
No.
And so when your best player does that, everybody kind of buys in. And now, look, when you're sulking, who do you think, and there's talk about we need more. LeBron not saying we need more to replace me. The feeling is we need more to replace y'all.
That is correct.
And so that creates a bad vibe too. So it's just all the way around, it's bad. And now, that said, they still could win the East if they get their minds right. Because the East is so mediocre. If they get their attitude right, they still could win.
They're not winning the East with Isaiah Thomas as a prominent figure. That's not going to happen, Chris. I resign to the fact. I believe in LeBron wholehearted. I believe in the Cavs. But you look at LeBron since Isaiah's been back. Let's be 1,000%. Isaiah Thomas doesn't make anybody better but Isaiah Thomas. And he can't do that now because he's unhealthy.
Agreed.
That's as simple as that. You look at him in Boston, but look at Terry Rozier in Boston.
Yep.
Terry Rozier getting triple-doubles.
They're winning without Kyrie.
So it's a system. I think maybe the 2 years in Boston, maybe that's the anomaly. Phoenix and Sacramento is really who Isaiah Thomas is.
Agreed.
What if that's the case?
There's no
We
question.
keep saying, well, that's Isaiah. That's Isaiah. What if it's not?
You're right.
And a 5'9", non-explosive, non-quick NBA player, they go to the blacktop and get those guys. Because that's what Isaiah Thomas is. I'm sorry. he had a great 2-year season, but him being hurt, injured, coming off that injury, he's not the same. Look at LeBron when he plays with Isaiah, and look at LeBron when he's off the court. Yeah. Look at those other guys when LeBron is running everything. Look at Korver. Look at Jeff Green. Look at D. Wade. And then look at them when Isaiah's on the court. I ain't saying LeBron was without fault because LeBron can play better. His body language tells me I'm resigned to the fact. I ain't going to the final with these guys because these are worse. Minus Kevin Love is worse than what I took in 2007 when I had 2 mop buckets, a squeegee, and a bar of soap, and I dragged them to the finals. Now, I
wouldn't say it's worse than 07, but
it's close. But they're older.
I would look at starting, and this is where Ty Lue's got to make the tough decision. I would look at starting Derrick Rose and letting Dwayne Wade run the second unit. And if I can't trade Isaiah, put him on the bench.
I could trade him.
On the bench.
Somebody want him. He got a $6 million contract. We done played $3 million of that, Skip. We done got $3 million of that. Go ahead and take him. Michael?
I hate to say I told you so, but I told you as soon as this trade was made.
You spoke it into existence.
You're going to add a ball-hogging, 5'9", no defense playing point guard, quote-unquote, hurt to LeBron James and expect those two to click? It's not going to happen.
You spoke it into existence, Skip, because you kept saying it. Isaiah says he's going to average 30. He says he's going to average 30.
The only reason I'm not going to write this mess off, and it is a mess of staggering proportions, but the only reason I can't write it off is before Isaiah was forced back into the lineup, and that could have something to do with the owner of the Cavaliers, because reportedly they become buddies somehow, texting buddies.
Change your number, Dan Gilbert.
Okay. But before he was forced into the lineup, they won 18 of 19 games. Obviously, Kevin Love was healthy, and Jay Crowder was playing better than he is now. Everybody was playing better. But they looked pretty good. They looked like a team that was going to pretty much waltz away with the East at that point, right? Has LeBron hit a wall physically where he's just wearing out? Did he play too many early minutes? Because for a while, for the first, 6 weeks, he was leading the league in minutes played. I don't know, because when I look at this, LeBron has to be better than all this too. Yeah. Where you can't just completely lose heart. And then I thought a turning point was that social media post last week when he pointed fingers at his teammates as lazy and that you're being disrespectful to people who believe in you. Me. I believe in you guys and you're being lazy.
I got y'all sorry, but here.
And see, I think if that was to the Cavs, I think it might have been to the front office and Gilbert, because I think it was saying, look, you're not out here beating the bushes like you should be to get a trade, to get the deal that we need. He's seen all these moves, Blake Griffin, all these other moves made. Why are we being lazy rather than beating the bushes and trying to get the best deal that's going to take us to another level?
Instead, Dan Gilbert and all the scouts flew to Tuscaloosa, Alabama to watch Trae Young against Colin Sexton. So they're like, on to the next year, right? Right? Let's use that Brooklyn pick next year.
And Skip, they fired the general manager. What was it? 2 days before the trade? Before the trade opened? Free agency opened up. 2 days. So whatever Dave Griffin was cooking up, because I know he had a nice pot of something brewing, Joy, on the stove. That thing was simmering down there, probably about 250 degrees. It had been on the stove for about 3-4 hours, so it was nice and tender.
Little Jimmy Butler in there somewhere? Maybe a little
Paul George. And then here come Dan Gilbert. My grandma would say, boy, the easiest job in the kitchen is stirring the pot. And that's all Dan Gilbert did was stir the pot. He ain't do nothing but mess our good meal that we was about to prepare. He messed it up, Skip.
He wanted to put his own spice in it.
No. Stay up.
So, Chris Broussard, what are the odds that Dan Gilbert's going to say, sure, I'll trade the Brooklyn pick because I don't know if LeBron's going to be here or not, but I'll trade it for LeBron's sake. He's not going to do that.
For LeBron's sake, no.
No.
Nothing. No. I'm not a Dan Gilbert fan. I wouldn't do it either, though.
I wouldn't either.
There's no way I'm giving up that pick. Nobody gets everything they want. Nobody, not even the president of the United States. And LeBron wants that. He wants, trade that pick, let's improve this year.
Sure he does.
And also, you can't get everything without committing to the team. You ain't getting it. You're not getting it. Because at the end of the day, LeBron and every player, you only hurt yourself by not going out and giving your all. You only hurt because the question, I want to see LeBron after the break, after the deadline, when whatever they do or haven't done, because if he continues to play like this, people are going to say he's not in his prime anymore.
I
He's
agree.
starting to decline. I don't think that's the case. I think it's more sulking, attitude, and all that. But I'm going to watch it because he hasn't been LeBron lately.
Get that 5'9", 180-pound necklace off his neck and watch how he do.
Well, hold on.
Albatross.
Could you don't think LeBron could go to T. Lue or somebody say, look, this isn't working with IT. I know it's going to cause problems in the locker room. Put
How many
Derek in
more
the starting
problems could
lineup.
it possibly
Put
cause?
Derek in the starting lineup.
Yeah, D-Rose. Hold on. Hold on.
Or Calderon.
Didn't Isaiah Thomas get on Kevin Love? D-Rose left with a fade, came back with dreads, and married.
No, and I got to tell you.
Mary, is that true?
Yes.
I half joked about this. They're better with Calderon in the lineup.
It's
it
a
just
better
fits
fit.
better. It just works better.
It's a better fit.
No mercy.
The NBA trade deadline is Thursday, and the Cavs need help. USA Today reports the Cavs attempted to trade for DeAndre Jordan by offering their first-round pick, Tristan Thompson, and J.R. Smith. Cleveland has now dropped 8 of their last 12. We're joined once again by Chris Broussard. Chris, what should the Cavs do before Thursday's deadline?
Look, I would really love nothing more for this season than to see LeBron get some help, some real help that's going to get them back to the finals and maybe make it a competitive finals. But that said, there is no way, if I'm Cleveland, I would give up that Brooklyn pick unless I'm getting a Paul George and a commitment from LeBron to at least stay next season.
Yep.
And George will stay next season. And OKC is not going to trade George. Like, that's virtually off the table. So what move out there? Like, they'll make lateral moves, I assume. You got to mix up the locker room. There's guys that don't trust each other. So get some fresh blood in there. But as far as moves of major consequence, what move is out there that if I should give up the Brooklyn pick for, that you would say, okay, now they have a shot at beating
How
the Warriors?
badly do the Clippers want to get out from under DeAndre's contract?
They'd love to get out of it. And I'm not so sure at the end of the day. They've been hard on it, look, only for Brooklyn's pick. But I'm not so sure come Thursday, 2:30 p.m., maybe they do.
Chicken up to the deadline
Yeah.
and nobody else wanted to bite on that because you got to swallow the contract too. It's a lot of money, man.
But how much DeAndre certainly helps you get out of the East, but I don't think he's worth.
I told him earlier he can rim protect. That's really what he can do, and that would help some in the East.
But they've been getting killed on the defensive. They've been getting killed on the board, Skip. Tristan Thompson is a shell of himself. I don't know if the calf injury is still lingering. I don't know if he got other things on his mind. But Tristan Thompson is not the same guy. He's not that energizer guy. No. Tristan, you can book it. Tristan was going to get you 6 and 10, 6 and 9.5, 6 points, 9.5, 10 rebounds a game, Skip. Now,
plus he was going to get you like 6 offensive.
Yes.
Games. He was fight and scrap.
Now he's going to get you 4 points, get you 4 rebounds, and 4 fouls. He's 4-4-4.
So you would give up the Brooklyn pick?
No. You can, first of all, you can't give up that pick because if you want, say you just, for the sake of argument, you want DeAndre Jordan, Lou Williams. DeAndre has a player option next year, and Lou is free. So I'm giving up the pick with no assurances that LeBron is going to be back, and DeAndre doesn't opt out, and Lou Williams doesn't go somewhere else. So now I've given up something that I know I could have had.
Yeah.
Now 3 assets are gone. And so 4 assets are gone because I gave up the pick to get these guys. So no, I wouldn't give that pick up. I give up my pick. But I'm trading Isaiah Thomas. I'm doing everything. Look, if there's a carnival, a circus coming to town, if you got Cracker Jacks, candied apple, or fried Snickers, or fried butter, you can have Isaiah Thomas.
Nobody wants Isaiah
Come
Thomas.
on, Skip.
They just don't.
It's just going to have to be a salary dump.
Yeah.
But it's only $6.5 million. That's the thing. It's
I've
not
been
like a
telling
huge
Skip that.
dump.
See, we don't pay 3 of it. As a matter of fact, we're throwing an extra $500,000.
I would love to try to get Tyreek Evans because he can shoot.
Yeah.
He's bigger, theoretically could defend. Try to get somebody like that, but
I don't
George
get why
Hill.
Marcus Smart is on the block. I know he threw a tantrum the other night, but
he'd help.
he would really help.
They should have had him in the beginning. I would have rather had him instead of Jay Crowder.
I buy that.
At this point, yeah.
I respect Marcus Smart because he comes in and makes stuff happen on both ends.
Yeah. Jay Crowder.
We
he
thought
makes stuff happen.
Crowder did that too, though.
Ooh, what happened?
Here's the thing, that pick too, everybody's trying to say, oh, it's 7th right now. When they got Kyrie with the first pick, it was slotted 8th. When they got Anthony Bennett in 2014, it was slotted 9th. This is a deep draft. There could be 5, 6, 7 really good players in this draft. And when we talk about trying to keep LeBron, what if you get a top 4 or 5 pick? Maybe the guy you get is a guy that LeBron says, you know what? He's going to be good. Maybe I'll stay.
I think it's incumbent upon LeBron James to go to Dan Gilbert right here, right now, today, and say, I will commit to you for 2 more years if you'll trade that pick. Just 2 more years.
I'll commit to you if you put $250 million in my account right now.
He would. I bet you if he could do the extension, he could do
What you mean he can't do that? Yeah, you can.
Well, I mean, there's a salary cap. You can't just automatically.
Yeah, you
pay
can.
him all
I got an
Well,
offshore.
since they got his bird right.
I got an offshore account. Yeah, you can.
Oh, okay.
Over there in the old Seychelles.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing. Even if LeBron does that, what move out there would you point to and say, get that done?
It would have been DeMarcus Cousins. Unfortunately, it's not any longer.
How about this here? What if they could get Kemba Walker? They trade Isaiah for Kemba, and they get DeAndre Jordan and Lou Williams.
Why does Michael's
exactly.
not going to do
Come
that?
on, Mike.
Come on.
Mike's made some questionable moves over the years, but I don't know about that one.
But Isaiah's $6 million. We're gonna play an extra $500,000, so that you only on the book for $2 million. You want that $12 million off the books?
Kemba can play though.
I
Kemba's
know.
not and he's only making $12 million. That's a great bargain.
Isaiah only making $6.
So now reports are out of Los Angeles that the Lakers are moving on from LeBron. They're looking at 2 years out so that they're going to skip over the LeBron year because they don't want an aging LeBron. They want to get younger, better, and just
So you think
going.
they don't, now they're moving on from LeBron, period?
That's from Woj and who else? Ramona Shelburne reported this.
I think it's because George is looking like he's going to stay, and you're not getting LeBron without
Without another
George
star.
or Cousins, who's injured. So I think that's more what it is. But
And we looking over them too. Now, don't think, y'all ain't looking at us. Don't think we got our eye on y'all because y'all don't razz our berry either now.
the landscape for LeBron this summer isn't great. That's why not stay till 2019?
That's what I'm saying.
It's going to look a lot better in
And
2019.
again, is he at the end of his career? He's in the back fourth of his career now. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah.
The last fourth of his career.
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't you? You're in your home area, Northeast Ohio.
We're going to make a power move.
Yeah.
Watch this by Thursday. We're going to have Kemba, Lou Williams, and DeAndre.
Yeah.
And what you going to say, Chris? You going to come back here and say, yeah.
I'm going to say that's a good problem. I mean, unless you get rid of Isaiah,
we getting rid of him.
you bring Lou in there, now you got a whole nother
He got
guard
to go.
that's the same type of player.
No. Isaiah got to go. JR is going to be gone. Tristan's going to be gone.
You need to call your man LeBron
And
right
Shump.
now.
And we get rid of Shump.
You got to call him and say,
We'll trade you-
extend. You got to commit.
Okay, I'm gonna call
commit.
And Shump, we'll trade Utah Shump for Rodney Hood.
Rodney Hood can flat
Hood
out
is
play.
tough. Hood is tough.
Boy, we get boy, with LeBron with all them shoes.
Why would Utah
Why
do
would
that?
Utah? Do you realize Utah's
think
the
it one
hottest team in
side,
the West right now?
exactly.
They're just killing people.
Yeah, but they ain't going nowhere.
They might go farther than you think.
All they Skip.
Hey, that
all
kid
doing
they
is kick-
drafted, that kid can
Oh, yeah,
really
he's tough.
play.
They spinning their wheels. All they do is spin. They ain't going nowhere.
Iman's not helping them go anywhere.
I know that, but look here. I'm trying to do a deal over here. You shoot my deal
From
down.
the Cleveland side.
Yeah.
You want Batum, Nick Batum, and Kemba Walker.
Okay. Well,
Batum can guard. He's not having, he's been a disappointment
okay. Yeah.
offensively.
Okay. So we'll give you Shump, JR, and Isaiah for Batum and Kimba. Yeah, we'll do that.
Oh, thanks a lot, Shannon.
And as a matter of fact, and we put the Air Jordan logo on our jersey.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I'm not so sure, though, now looking at it, that LeBron, even if he stays, man, maybe you keep that pick. And I'm not saying LeBron's going to, hook his saddle to some young kid, but if you get a young kid that can play, what if it's Michael Porter Jr., Marvin Bagley?
I would go with those two.
The Ayton kid from Arizona.
What about the big kid
Trey
from Texas?
Young. I mean, that's the way the league is going.
I don't love Trey Young. We
You look a lot like Steph to me.
He is not Steph, and he's not Iverson. He's not either.
He's not Iverson.
Nope.
He's not Iverson. He
He's
might be
not
Steph.
Well, Chris, thanks for joining us.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.